You are listening to the Call to Action podcast, where we aim to inspire, educate, and inform entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Today's guest for the Fireside Chat on the Call to Action podcast is Sarah Stockdale. Sarah Stockdale is the founder of Growclass, a growth marketing training program for founders and marketers. She's spent her career leading growth teams for startups in Toronto and San Francisco. She's a speaker, TV guest, tech expert, and the author of the popular weekly newsletter, We Need to Talk About This. Listen in as she shares her story on becoming an entrepreneur, as well as her superpower and advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 27 of the Call to Action podcast. I am your host, Shantae, and today we are having a fireside chat with the founder of Growclass, and her name is Sarah Stockdale. Now, before we bring our guest onto the show, I would like to share a little bit of information about last week's episode, as well as share today's inspirational quote. Now, if you missed episode 26 of the Call to Action podcast, as always, it is a must listen. I shared very helpful information for businesses that they can use as a means to provide touchless information to customers. Sounds interesting? So if it does, go back and check it out at ctamarketing.biz and click on podcasts on the main menu. You'll be able to hear that episode as well as other episodes as well. Now, here is the inspirational quote that I chose for episode 27 of the Call to Action podcast. And this one, to me, speaks to that entrepreneurial spirit. But I got it from success.com, and I think this was great. So here is the inspirational quote for episode 27 of the Call to Action podcast. Don't wait for opportunity, create it. So to me, everyone, that definitely speaks to the spirit of the entrepreneur. We're the ones who take our ideas, we create opportunities for ourselves and by others, and we turn those ideas into realities by sharing them with the world. So now let's bring on our guest. As mentioned before in the intro, I have Sarah, who is the founder of Growclass. And Growclass is a growth marketing training program for founders and marketers. And Sarah is going to share with us information about her organization, why she got started, and some other helpful information for entrepreneurs here on the Call to Action podcast. So please join me in welcoming Sarah to the show. Hi, Sarah, and welcome to the Call to Action podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being a guest. Now, Sarah, I like to have fun on my show. I like to do an icebreaker.
Oh, amazing.
So, yes. So, for the icebreaker, I would like for you to share your superpower with the audience. So tell us your superpower, Sarah.
Oh, that's a great one. I would say my superpower is probably connection. I used to think that like networking was kind of a dirty thing. And to be honest, I still kind of think it is, but I love kind of identifying opportunities that, folks could help each other with and connecting people. I've actually set up a couple of marriages. So I think kind of on the relationship side, I also have it. But on the business side, I really love connecting people with opportunities and with folks that could potentially help them grow their business or grow their career. So I'm always kind of creating these micro communities, and these kind of Growclass itself is a community. So yeah, I would say connection is my superpower.
Wow. Okay, that's major. So you're talking about relationships like on all levels, not just business, but personal.
I'm trying to diversify my connection portfolio.
That is awesome, Sarah. That is awesome. I love it. All right, Sarah. So now that we know you're like the queen of connections, like relationships, all types across the board, now we're interested in knowing about you as an entrepreneur. What inspired you to want to be an entrepreneur? Did something happen? Was it something that you just always knew? So just help us understand, how'd you get to this point?
Yeah, that's a great question because I'm definitely not one of those people who are kind of born an entrepreneur. Like I always hear these stories of people who give TED Talks, like, when I was a kid, I had a lemonade stand, blah, blah, blah. Like that was never me. Both of my parents are they work for the government. My father was a firefighter, and my mother was a social worker. And they wanted me to go to school and get a good 9 to 5 job with a pension. And and growing up, I always thought this success looked like, someone in shiny black heels screaming at someone else on a cell phone. Which in hindsight, like that sounds like an awful life. Like that just sounds like an awful dream. But that's what I thought a CEO was. Like I thought that like you're just like, I don't know, always wearing something fancy, yelling at people. Um so no, I never thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I got in kind of accidentally into growing early stage technology startups. And I started right after grad school and kind of was that like chief of staff person who was always kind of helping other people realize their dreams, like helping other people kind of build the things that they wanted to see in the world. And once I had done that a couple of times and I kind of knew, okay, I'm pretty good at this building businesses for other people thing. I think I could do that for me. And I actually think that I could kind of build the kind of company that I want to see in the world, hire and promote and pay the people that I think are really deserving of opportunity. And create something a little bit different. So I guess I just did it for other people and got kind of bored of just kind of doing it over and over again to help other people realize their dreams and thought, I have things that I think should exist in the world. I think I could probably do that for myself.
So it's funny, you I gotta go back when you're talking about how your vision of, being successful and entrepreneur. And it's so funny because when I saw Steve Jobs and I would see him in like a t-shirt and jeans, I'm like, wow, to me that was like, that's success.
Oh my god.
you know?
Well, and then it totally so to that, it totally changed when I started working at startups. So when I was growing up, when I was in elementary school and high school, I always thought that people in suits yelling at other people were what success was in the career
Yeah.
world. And then when I moved into startups, it was people in Patagonias and hoodies and t-shirts and jeans, but I never really saw myself in that vision. So I used to wear a lot of black turtlenecks and like clear rimmed glasses to like try to try to emulate that, try to like fit in with the Silicon Valley crew. It was never really me.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, yeah, to me, t-shirts and like a good pair of yoga pants or some I like to be comfortable.
Yes, yes. I am fully on board with this new plan.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It seems like you put more hours in as an entrepreneur than working for someone else. I think it's the passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that passion. Okay, now tell us a little bit about Growclass because you had a really interesting description about, you know, being inclusive and who you were focusing on with this. So just kind of touch on, I don't want to give too much away, but touch on that a bit on your inspiration. Like really go into it, Sarah. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So as I kind of alluded to, I spent my entire career working in technology startups, and I was usually, one of the only women in the room. And a lot of kind of the events that I went to or the things that were offered in terms of education reflected very much that kind of Mark Zuckerberg archetype of who gets the six-figure gigs in technology startups. Like they all kind of look the same, they speak the same, they went to Stanford, whatever, dropped out of school, that whole story.
Mhm.
Um and and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I never saw myself represented in those spaces, and I never really felt comfortable in those spaces. So again, with the the superpower thing, I started kind of creating my own little mini spaces to try to learn, to get in touch with people that I wanted to grow from in my career. And to be honest, when I first started working in startups, there weren't really any resources to kind of learn what my job was. It was like build your desk, figure out how to do your job. Um,
Right.
and so I was always like, I was super hungry for some direction and some guidance and mentorship and education. And so, once I'd kind of been doing this for over a decade and kind of learned the hard way, to be honest, I wanted to create that space that I was so hungry for in my early 20s. So somewhere um, that was inclusive to kind of all types of people that are just looking to grow their businesses, maybe grow their careers either in tech or, we have a lot of freelancers and consultants that come through Growclass just because they want to sharpen their skills and be able to offer their clients more. And really, my dream and my goal is that everyone who comes through Growclass, regardless of if they're trying to up level their career or start their own thing, everyone is making six-figure incomes and connecting to each other and helping each other level up.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So tell us a little bit about what can they get. So if they sign up for Grow Class, like what are some of the, I guess there's sessions that you all have, or are they workshops? Like walk us through as a basic client, like what would one expect?
Yeah, 100%. So Growclass is an 8-week online training program that basically rounds out your skill set on how to grow a business. So we start with kind of growth is a little bit of it, the intersection of kind of traditional marketing, data, and product. So we start with how do you become a data-driven marketer? How do you kind of leverage some of the tools that are out there? We specifically dive deep into Google Analytics, but there are tons of them to become a data driven experimental marketer. And then we touch on a little bit of customer psychology. And then we go straight into building out your skill set from a channel perspective. So, conversion copywriting, email marketing, SEO, Facebook ads, Google Analytics, and really kind of helping you build this incredibly sophisticated toolkit of, how to become a 2020, 2021, 2022 marketer. And really we walk you through that, step by step. So it's me hanging out with you, kind of talking you through
Hmm.
everything. And then we have some incredible guest instructors from who, their backgrounds are like LinkedIn, Google. They've come from some really incredible startups because if I was to say I can teach you everything you need to know to grow a business, like that's a big ego. And I
Oh
just
yeah.
no one no one person is going to be all of those things. So I wanted to kind of tap the Avengers in my mind, the people who are the best at the thing that they do, to
Hmm.
come and kind of round out that skill set and teach SEO and Google and Facebook ads.
That is awesome. So do you find that you're working more with smaller businesses, or is it like single startup entrepreneurs? Like who is your audience that you normally cater to?
Yeah, so there are kind of three people that come through Grow Class most often. A lot of the time, folks who are starting or have kind of been building their business for a while. So we've got a lot of e-commerce founders, consultants, and freelancers who really just want to build their growth engine, grow their client base, grow their kind of their sales and their revenue. And then we also have a lot of folks who are looking to level up their careers. So that's usually one of two things. People who are kind of intermediate in their career, working at tech startups or working at kind of earlier stage companies, and they're looking for that kind of support and guidance. And then we have a lot of like incredible senior executives that just want to, they've been leading people for so long that they haven't been in the weeds of digital marketing for a long time. So they want to like roll up their sleeves and kind of get back into it and refresh their skill sets.
Sarah, thank you so much. You've shared like some really good information. And now, what we want to talk about is for any upcoming or aspiring entrepreneurs, you being an entrepreneur yourself and having some experience, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a big question, but I love it. I think if you're someone who's an aspiring entrepreneur, I think one of the things that I was always waiting for is to kind of feel like I was ready to start my own business. And I always kind of felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff and I was never ready to kind of step off of it. And I just want to make it very clear that you are never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready to step off that cliff. It's always going to feel scary. If you're waiting for a magical moment, it's never coming. Like it'll never come. And if you're waiting for that, you'll never end up building your business. So just do it. It's not going to feel comfortable. And that's part of the growth of it. That's part of the point. I would say like lean into that awkward discomfort and and just step off that cliff. Because what I found I started with a consultancy called Valkyrie before I started Growclass. And when I stepped off the cliff, like my network was there to catch me. Folks were there to refer me and to offer advice and to offer support. So if you've crafted that network, if you've added value to people throughout your career, like you do have a bit of a safety net there for you when you jump and start your company. And just, make sure that you're always investing back into those people, that you're promoting their businesses, that you're, referring them for clients or customers. Because that is so much of it is the people that and that, who trust you and can help you build your business.
That is so true. Now that's really, really, really good advice. Yes, having a network, having people that support you and giving back, like you were just saying, them supporting you when you stepped off that ledge and decided to go ahead and do it. You had those people there to help you. You had your network there to help you. And then also by you referring or businesses to them, then for their services. And that's definitely good. I love that. I love that. That's very good advice. I don't think I've heard that yet on my show. But that's very important. I think that's really good. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah.
Yeah, of course. It helps me. I don't know. Hopefully it's helpful.
No, it is. It is. It is. Now let's talk about from that same context. Let's talk about like marketing. Like, how do you market your business? And then any advice you would give to entrepreneurs about them marketing their business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of in the business of growth marketing. So we've been doing this for a really long time. So we have a very I always think about your kind of marketing strategy or growth strategy as like a layered cake. So what are all of the different kind of layers? A friend and former colleague of mine that heads up growth at Clearbank always talks about this kind of cake analogy. So you've got your different layers that are going to kind of compound and perform for you as a business. So for us, that looks like Facebook ads, SEO. We've got a content strategy. We do quite a few webinars. We lean heavily on email. So we're working hard to kind of build our email list, build really kind of fun, whimsical content. Like there's so much garbage that goes into your inbox. It's like literally like an on fire trash can all the time. So we're just desperately trying to be the delightful email that you open and that adds value to your experience, that you're kind of excited to hear from Growclass. So we leverage a lot of email marketing. But I think coming from this world and training kind of entrepreneurs and how to grow their businesses, the one thing that I always say is like what you focus on grows. So you need to look for things that are going to have a compounding growth effect. A lot of business owners are kind of always like chasing these like shiny objects, just like, oh, maybe I should try Facebook. Maybe I should try an affiliate program. Maybe I should like write a ton of blogs. And all of those could potentially be channels that would perform for your business if you focus on setting up the structure and having a kind of a strategy in place and then focusing on that channel for long enough to give it the opportunity to grow for you and not just kind of, being a dog chasing cars at all times for marketing, which I feel like a lot of us as business owners are, because there's so many things that we have to do in a day and it's hard to figure out where to focus and what's actually going to grow your business. So I would say figure out where your customers are, hang out where they hang out, party where they party online,
Right.
and talk to them all the time. Have constant conversations with your customers. If you're not talking to a prospective customer and an actual customer every day, then you're probably not doing the work of marketing, because you need to hear how they describe their problems. You need to kind of get into their heads. So if you're having those conversations every single day, opportunities are going to show themselves to you and you're going to be able to kind of take advantage of those channels.
Right, right. That's very good. Very good information, Sarah. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, of course. I will talk about growth like all day, every day. If anyone has questions or wants to kind of reach out to me, this is the air I breathe.
Awesome. Awesome. Sarah, it's been great having you, and you just shared some really, really, really good information. I can't wait for people to hear this. And now let's find out how we can contact you. I'm sure people are going to want to know how to take your classes and how to get signed up. So share with us your contact information.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at growclass.co, and I'm on Twitter at skstock. I also write a weekly blog that has nothing to do with growth, but it's a lot of fun, called We Need to Talk About This. And you can find that at wntta.co.
Awesome. Awesome. So, do you have any last words of wisdom to leave with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I remember growing up from elementary school was, always kind of feeling like there were certain things that it was okay to be good at or okay to learn, and then certain things that I was kind of just encouraged that I wasn't going to be good at. Things like, math and computer science, which ended up being a lot of my career. So if I could leave you with anything, it's literally that you can learn how to do anything. Your education should not stop at high school or college or university. If you want to be an entrepreneur, your whole job is just going to be learning. You have to be open to do new and challenging things, and you have to give your space. You have to give yourself space and time to learn new things, because you will not, like, no one was able to bench 250 pounds on the first try. Like, that would just give you a hernia. So, like, you need to give yourself kind of time to work those muscles and to learn new things that are going to help you build and grow your business, and be okay to kind of fail and to ask for help. We can help with that. There's tons of spaces that you can go to learn for free online. But never kind of stop exercising your mind in that way. It's just going to make you such a better founder and business owner.
That is so true. And you're right. It is about learning. And you're constantly learning something about yourself, about your audience, about what your business is. So yeah, definitely I agree with you on that. You never stop learning. And the cool thing about this day and age is the fact that you can do online classes, like through growclass.co. You could do that.
Welcome anytime. Our door is always open.
Right. Yes, yes. And there's also things like audiobooks and podcasts. And there's just so much that you can learn. But it's really good when it's in an organized manner. So it's good that you're having, like you do, growclass.co to help with that and having things organized because it is a lot of information out there. And if you're not focused, then you could get lost in the sauce, as they say. Um,
Lost in the sauce. I love that.
but having that information like what you're doing and having it in an organized manner in an 8-week program, I think that's awesome. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a great podcast, and I'm honored that I got to hang out with you for the afternoon.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm honored that you are a guest on the Call to Action podcast. And I'm just glad that you were on the show. And I just really hope that you enjoyed doing the fireside chat with me as much as I enjoyed doing it with you.
Oh my gosh, of course. I loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right, everyone. I just want to remind you that do not wait for opportunities, create them. And make sure that you go and visit Sarah at her website at wntta.co, but then also go and check out growclass.co. So, everyone, again, thank you for listening. Sarah, thanks again for being a guest on the show. Have a great day. And until next time. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Call to Action podcast. Make sure to visit me at ctamarketing.biz. There you can find articles for entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Until next time.